Hey guys, welcome to another Lifestyle of Eden podcast. I'm your host, Nick Tognietti, and today I have a very special guest, my precious wife, Erica Tognietti. Say the last name.
Tognietti.
There you go. Good, 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 good. Whenever we first got together, the last name was said like an American, which is Tognetti, but when you get to Italy, the G is silent and people laugh at you, and so we have changed our pronunciation to the authentic way of Tognietti.
Hmm.
So today we're going to talk about breast implant illness. Why is this one a not only a hot topic to the public, but a passionate topic for you?
Well, I think it's a hot topic to the public because everyone seems to have breast implants now or have thought about it or is thinking about it. Um, and
Mine are so nice, people actually think I do.
okay.
You see?
Yeah, so I had breast implants for about 8 years, a little over 8 years. And then so it's February right now. In May of this year, it'll be 3 years since I got them removed. And I didn't start having like crazy issues until probably about 6 months before I got them removed and like everything crashed. But I did have things that like immediately showed up and things that kind of gradually showed up throughout the years. And those have completely improved since getting them removed.
What were the issues that you noticed that you first got when you had them, and when did they come? How far along after you got them in did they come?
Okay, so when I got them in, um, now it was almost a decade ago. Or was it a decade ago? I immediately noticed some like anxiety issues. And I felt like almost like my chest was trying to like reject them. I don't know, it was weird. I always felt like I needed to like flex that muscle. Like it was just trying, it wasn't naturally, it just didn't feel natural, I guess.
That's not, that's actually, even for anybody who goes, no, I don't think that that's what happened. That is scientifically accurate because anytime you give a transplant, you generally are giving them for example, like a rapamycin, which we use in the functional space. Well, I say the functional space uses them a lot of times for not only immune modulation, but for autophagy. But by definition, sirolimus or rapamycin is what we call an anti-transplant rejection drug. And it's because when you put something foreign in the body, like somebody else's kidneys, your immune system actually rejects the kidneys as a foreign substance. So you give rapamycin to shut down your immune system in order to receive the transplant.
Mhm.
And so, by definition, it's literally no different with breast implants, which is why you probably felt that way because that was probably exactly what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, like I felt like it wasn't used to it or whatever. And I noticed a lot of anxiety attacks started happening within that first year that I've never, had before. And within that first year, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I had never had issues before. And I kind of thought it was like a stress that came on from bodybuilding because I also competed in my first show and obviously dieted down very harsh and just went through all the aftermath of that. And I'm sure that may have like triggered a lot of stress in my body, but but yeah, I got Hashimoto's, and then the anxiety, the panic attacks, the mental health stuff was all happening over the years. And then about 6 months before I got them removed, I was just having extreme depression. Like my scalp was always super dry. I just had like a whole long list of the symptoms. So I started researching and I got on Facebook, like the different groups on there. And as soon as I was seeing like all these, comments and posts and stuff, I was like, this is it. Like I just knew in my heart that like this is it. Um, and things really like worked out in my favor with getting them out because there was such a long waiting list and all this, and I got moved up. I prayed a lot about it, and as soon as I got them out, I noticed that that anxiety and that like always wanted my chest muscles just always wanting to flex, that completely went away immediately. um I feel like I lost a lot of inflammation after getting them out, and within a month of removing them I got to lower my thyroid medication.
Mm.
And then as of just 3 months ago when I got my stuff tested, my blood work done, I had reversed my Hashimoto's.
Hmm. It's interesting too. I mean, this is not a coincidence, and I know this is the Lord's timing. This morning, I literally got a message from one of my older clients who she had all the anxieties, she had everything, cortisol. She was actually one of my previous Cushing's clients, and I had just messaged her this week and just said, "Hey, just wanted to check in on you like I do with a lot of my old clients and how are you doing? How are you feeling? Now that we haven't been working together for X amount of time and so forth." And said she's doing, quite frankly, still struggling with some of the things that I had told them from a root cause perspective, like y'all need to address. There's a lot of issues within the home, within the marriage, and so I said, hey, these are the roots of a lot of the issues. But when we were working together, she's a very strong believer. She had felt like really convicted. Hey, I feel like I need to get my breast implants out. And I said, I'm in complete agreement with you. This is a scientifically documented concept, and I know a half a dozen in the last 3 years that have had theirs out and felt way better. But her husband had said, I don't want you to get them out because I like them. Well, that caused a little bit of a problem. So we would get on therapy calls. Well, long story short, she literally messages me and says, hey, next week I'm getting my breast implants out. I'll definitely tell you after how I feel. My gynecologist is so excited for me also. She said that everyone she knows that has removed their implants has felt so much better with symptoms improved. Her gynecologist, every single person. And so, you know, this here, could a lot of people's bodies handle breast implants? Probably. But a lot of times it's the straw that breaks the camel's back when people already have like, some form of seven pillar violations, stress, micromanagement, environmental toxicities, all those other lack of sleep, all those things, and it just, it pummels your body. But why do you think back then? I mean, back then, how old were you? 20, you got them 10 years ago? You were 21? I mean, no, you were 24.
Yeah, somewhere around there, 23, something like that. Yeah.
So why do you think back then you got the breast implants? Because whenever I talk to certain clients, even now that I have, that I say, hey, look, you've been with me for a year and a half now, and there are certain metrics that are still not matching up, even with all of your improvements. We we need to really, I've been pressing you for 6 months that we need to consider the breast implant concept. Some of them are like the old client I just shared, where she was like, I'm with it, let's get them out. I don't care about this crap. But then other ones are they cling to them. And I start going, you have to start questioning why you're so obsessive over either getting them or wanting to keep them. Is there a form of insecurity? Is there a vanity there? Like what is causing that? What's triggering that, whether you want to admit it or not? So like with you, what was kind of the reason you even got them in the first place?
So with me, and honestly, I could probably say for the majority of people, the reason they get them is for vanity because they look good and because you want to be able to fill out, bathing suits and shirts, and you want to, I wanted them for years even before I got them. Like I always had a small chest. I wanted big boobs. I mean, for vanity reasons. And they looked good, and I look back now and I'm like, oh my gosh, they were massive. They were so big. Um, and sometimes I do still miss the look, and I still miss being able to like even just go without a bra and not look like I need to put on a bra. So I do miss them sometimes, but I would never go back and change my decision to get them removed. Um and even just thinking of it never crossed my mind when I was in that situation of like, oh, I think this is it. This is what I need to do is get them removed. It never really crossed my mind like, oh, but I love them. Like, absolutely not. Like, take them out right now.
I mean, even like one of our friends, April, like, just said the same thing. Like,
Hmm.
she got hers out and immediately felt better. And, I mean, this is just like what, August, I think, of last year. So like 5 months
Hmm.
ago. But I think the same thing goes for men. I think people have to ask the question, hey, why are you needing to use the high doses of testosterone or steroids and this, that, and the other? At the end of the day, it is for vanity and for my own concepts and my own experience with it. It's a vanity, I feel like, is more of just a cover-up word. I feel like the real word, vulnerably, that needs to probably be used that most people won't is insecurity.
Yeah, insecurity about how I looked and
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I think breast implants for women, like 99%, if not 100% of them are all forms of insecurity because nobody's ever doing it saying, "Hey, I'm doing it for the health
Yeah,
benefits." No,
exactly.
like there's nothing good outside of a physical lust of the eyes that you're literally doing it for. And so I think for men it's usually steroids, and I think for women or some type of, enhancers in some way, shape, or form. And then I think for women steroids are obvious, definitely there for women as well. But I think breast implants are that heavy thing. And so I think the more that you put people in the uncomfortable position of simply, I'll call it pulling a Weston and asking why, I think that you make people start to contemplate, and they realize they have no real answer.
Mhm.
And ultimately, like as a coach and practitioner, I always tell people if they don't listen, that's on them. That's their fault. That's up to them. Like I'm not here to be your God and whatever. But at least you'll never be able to say, Nick never questioned me. Nick never brought the hard concepts up or whatever. And so I think that we do need to always ask that question of why with a lot of things we're doing, because vanity is a lot easier to say than insecurity,
Yeah.
because insecurity means I have to admit humbly and vulnerably that I'm uncomfortable with myself in some degree or
Which
whatever.
I think is fine to an extent to do things out of vanity for yourself. Not, I don't know how to put this. So like if I put on makeup, like that's because I like technically like a vanity thing. You know what I mean? Like I want to feel better, I want to feel more confident, whatever. So I don't think it can necessarily always be bad, but when it comes to sacrificing your health for it,
Hmm.
that's a completely different issue.
Well, I mean, even the Bible, Paul talks to Timothy about women adorning themselves with
Yeah.
makeup and gold and jewelry and stuff. So,
I feel like you should
there
feel
there's a time
comfortable.
there's a time and a place
Yeah.
for adorning. Like he says, hey, like in the church, like stop trying to adorn yourself like crazy because you don't want to do things that's just going to distract people from focusing on the Lord in that moment. But if you're going out to dinner, you're having a party, during doing some certain adornments, like we can call it vanity, but it's all at the end of the day it's no different than what the scripture actually says that God is going to do with his bride, which it says that he's going to dress his bride with jewels and rubies. And
Mhm.
so like we are going to be totally adorned, but for beauty is one thing, but like you said, when that beauty has any type of detriment on your stress, on your health, and or on your finances, it's a lack of stewardship.
Mhm.
Like if I'm going to focus so much on beauty, like these people that I have that are fashion influencers, some of them do it really, really well. Like honestly, like Marissa, I really like the way she does it because she does things in a very affordable way. She does it where her and her husband, her and David are so agreed upon and everything. And she doesn't do it in any way, shape, or form of an idolatrous perspective. Like honestly, Marissa will put it on social media where she's like, I prefer to dress homeless at home in my sweatshirt at the store or whatever than anything else. So she does it like genuinely as a hobby. But I've had certain people who they do it so bad where their husbands are working so hard just to basically afford their freaking crap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's a problem. So when it comes down to your health, your stress, any of those things, I go, that's just a pride aspect where you're not
Yeah.
able to humble yourself to remain within the means that you should be remaining in.
Yeah, I have two people come to mind that I know that have implants, and you know, one of them is just taking all of this medication, like a ton of medication for all these different illnesses, but has implants, and I'm just like, there's a huge connection there. And then the other one, I've talked to before who, oh, I have this autoimmune disease and this inflammation and blah blah blah, but I want to wait till after I get married to get them out. Or I want to wait till after I do this. I'm like, if you know something like this is going on and that it would help the quality of life and
Yeah.
your health from years to come, why would you not do it like literally yesterday?
Hmm.
Because that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that how I feel is always right, but when it comes to your health, like it affects everything. It's going to affect your children, all of it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think too it sets up the next generation for women to feel like they need to go do that type of thing, and then for men to think that, for boys like to think that they need to pursue that type of thing,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think it's there's so much vanity that goes on with all of it, and it's very detrimental. I think, like I said, I think anything that at the end of the day is, it's kind of like what I preach on dopamine. Dopamine is a very, very, very critical and amazing neurotransmitter. But if you get dopamine through means that cost you nothing, in my opinion, it's it's totally detrimental. Dopamine should only be given through harder things. So
Like
like,
effort.
yeah, like when I work out, I get dopamine, but I have to make the time and effort to go do that. When I do a cold shower, every time I get crazy dopamine. That's a very hard mental thing to do. But when you can just get it by sitting there on the couch and doing drugs or watching porn, those types of things are wrong things. So I think it's the same thing with these quote unquote, vanity things. The moment that they start bringing these detriments to your life, and like I said too, I think the biggest thing that the Lord looks at is the heart. And so you need to ask the question of why. Why do you really want that thing? There is two people that want a big house, but one of them have a great reason. Like you take an April and John. They've always said we were commanded by the Lord when we got this property in this house, it was to be used for his kingdom. So they host like crazy over there and like do all the right things. And I go, man, they have a big house, beautiful property, and it's completely right in the eyes of God. Then there's other people who do it, and it's for vanity, it's for big pre-games and parties and witchcraft and like all this other crap. And so I think the first thing people need to really start to get to know themselves on, because I think that they deny themselves or kind of hide themselves from their own reality of saying, hey, self, why did I get these? Or why do I even want these right now?
Or hanging on to them when it's crashing other parts of your life.
Hmm.
Yeah, when it comes to health, like they've already been recognized by the FDA to cause certain forms of cancer, like lymphomas and carcinomas. And some studies show that you're 800% more likely to get an autoimmune disease. So 8 times more likely. And like I was one of them. So just the fact that like you're literally putting something in your body that is, and even to get recognized by the FDA is like a huge thing, because a lot of things will be out there for years or decades before it's actually have like a black box warning or recognized by these, the FDA and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, they
Yeah.
literally cause cancer and give you an autoimmune disease, but people are still putting them in their body. And there's a lot of things that we can put in our body that's permissible, but that doesn't mean it's beneficial.
Yeah, and even your autoimmune that you had, there's outside of that, from a stress, nutrition, and all of the other areas, there's not really a whole lot that actually changed from when you got them to, when you got them out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you first got them, you were in a poor, during that season, you were in a poor relationship, being treated a certain type of way. Even when you got them out, you were in a poor relationship, getting treated. So what is the real, and your nutrition, you've always, generally
Yeah.
ate good. You know what I mean? So obviously now I feel like you're in a better environment and stuff like that than you were then, but there's only one like real factor that completely and utterly changed from what even literally caused it versus what totally reversed it. And honestly, it was the implants going in and the implants going out.
Yeah. Yeah, my surgeon who is out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and I cannot think of his name right now. But and there's not many that do it. If you look for ones that do capsulectomies, in block capsulectomies, which is where they not only take the implant out, but they take the capsule around it out, which if you're getting them removed, you have to get both out, not just the implant, because leaving the capsule in that has grown around it can still hold all those
Bacteria,
bacteria, the damaged tissue. It
microplastic.
could still give you cancer the same way an implant can.
Hmm.
So anyway, he called, about 2 or 3 months after I had them removed, just because he keeps tabs on everyone and he does more removals than he does implants,
Mm.
putting them in. So he called and was just checking up, like, how are things, like, what's changed, blah, blah, blah. So I think they're really like keeping tabs on the
Data.
trends and the data. Because, I told him, like, I got to lower my thyroid medication. I noticed things, immediately after getting them out that improved. So
Mm, yeah, amen. Well, I think this is very informative and quite confronting for a lot of people. Before we close out, is there any other things that you want to leave them with?
just don't do it. Don't get the implants. I know so many people contemplate it because of the look. And honestly, as a woman, I feel like in our culture, we try to blame men for creating that standard that we have to look a certain way and whatever. It's really us. We
Mm,
create our own standard and we are just making like a detriment every time that we have to like get bigger this and do this and um, I think we just need to get back to like the more natural things and
mm,
being secure in how God made us.
man, did you want to tell them that it really helps when you have a super awesome husband or anything like that? I mean,
Really,
you,
yeah, you completely like reverse my autoimmune disease just being near you.
hey, look, listen, all glory to God, I don't, I'm not here to brag or boast, but, I think having a fantastic, really good looking and just
Yeah.
hilarious husband.
Hashtag I'm a really good looking.
Yeah, I think
That
I,
really
I
helps.
think those are really awesome things to have if you're fortunate enough to acquire such things. So
I love
anyway,
you.
I love you too. Well, anyway, I hope that this really helps and I hope it kind of starts to shed light. Please send this to somebody that you know struggling with breast implants. And if this is somebody like yourself or quite frankly, your daughters, needing to hear this at the ages of 15, 16, 18, because what used to be a 25-year-old thing, with tattoos, now I mean, I started getting tatted up at 16, but it's the same thing with breast implants where you're seeing these things happen younger and younger and younger. I knew a girl that was literally 18 years old with them whenever I was about 20. So it's happening so much earlier in life and we're setting up a lot of the next generation for something we don't want them to have to go through. And so I think giving this to them so that they can share it with their friends and really confronting these things before the Lord and asking the question why, because I can assure you one thing: when it comes to certain things like tattoos, when it comes to certain things like a big house, there's the good reasons and then there are the bad reasons. I can see both sides depending on what they were. When it comes to breast implants, that is one area where there is no good reason. You're never going to be able to say it's going to help me bring these people to the Lord. No, I mean, can you use people after you've done it, like Erica's gone through it, and help people? Yes, but that doesn't mean go do it so that then you can have that's using grace to the wrong terms. Breast implants will never will you find a justified reason to go and get them done. There's no positive benefit that it can bring. And if you think, well, it makes my boyfriend happy or my husband happy, that's not a good reason. That's a good reason to get a new boyfriend. So please keep these things in mind and really questioning and confronting yourselves when you're coming across these scenarios. So we thank you for listening and stay tuned for the next episode.